In 2015, 57 million children old enough for primary school weren't enrolled. 11% of all children in the world are working instead of learning. In developing countries, children who come from poor households are more likely to be out of school because they have to help support their family. 15 million girls are married each year before they turn 18. Once they marry, they leave their home and drop out of school, if they're in school, to start their own family. Since they lack basic educational skills for living, they are more likely to live in poverty. According to UNESCO, it will take until 2089 for the poorest girls to finish primary school if they continue on the current educational path. In 2013, Typhoon Haiyan hit the Philippines and destroyed thousands of homes. Other unpredictable events such as floods, earthquakes, and diseases hinder education. In Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea, the Ebola breakout has caused schools to be on and off schedule for many months. The lack of qualified teachers working in developing countries are a major factor in the low literacy rate. In order to accomplish the Millennium Goal 2, which is achieving universal primary education, an estimated 5.2 million teachers would have to be recruited. Children can't effectively learn if they don't have qualified teachers. They can't learn from their parents if their parents didn't get a basic education either. Furthermore, poor sanitation has been proven to decrease primary school enrollment rates. It's not easy to use the restroom in developing countries, as it is in the U.S., because of lack of privacy, water shortages, unavailability of disposal facilities for menstruating women, and the likelihood of sexual advances from boys in the mixed restrooms. A school sanitation program in Bangladesh increased female enrollment by 11% just from improving restroom privacy.
In order to improve education in developing countries, the Universal Education Program created the Effective Literacy Program. The Effective Literacy Program is a comprehensive and family-based family literacy project for social development. It targets poor communities that are home to ethnic minorities that don't have access to alternative education. People who don't have the access to education are the minority that the UEP are trying to reach. According to Rebecca Winthrop, conflict countries need education more because education will help escape poverty and conflict. Education is how these countries will make a workforce to pull themselves out of poverty and train and educate the country's citizens. The UEP acquires its funding through funds such as the World Heritage Fund, states parties, and voluntary contributions. Only 6% of the US government's spending is on education. The end goal is to have countries like the United States to spend more on education and do more to solve this problem. The Universal Education Program is positively affecting these less educated areas by giving the minority groups chances to get primary level education.
The Universal Education Program's actions towards education has had numerous short-term effects on low-income children seeking an education. In 2007, only 25% of students went from primary education onto secondary education because of high expenses. The UEP seeks to eliminate burdens such as financial problems, which would allow the less fortunate to have the opportunity to get an education. According to Celeste Headley, it would only cost about $45 to send a student to school for a year in Cambodia, one of the poorest countries in the world. Another impact would be the creation of more jobs for educational instructors. 4 million new primary school teachers are needed in East Africa alone to reach the goal of universal primary education by 2016. More women would also be able to enter the workforce, which would increase a country's GDP. The Universal Education Program can have long-lasting impacts by empowering women and allowing them access to primary education. If all women receive primary education, the result would be 14% less child marriages worldwide. Education helps promote women's status so they will not feel the pressure to marry young. The education of mothers is especially important. If all mothers gain a primary education, then the world maternal death rate would decrease by 2/3, resulting in 98,000 lives to be saved. In an interview, Malala Yousafzai's father remarked, "The girls are suffering. Trust your daughters, they're faithful. Honor your daughters, they are honorable. And educate your daughters, they are amazing." The education of women is vital to the health of mothers and their future generations.